Austin Reaves has been the talk of the basketball world this entire week. Early in the week, Austin Reaves scored a career-high 35 points against Orlando Magic. And then the other night, he drops 25 points and 11 assists against the Phoenix Suns. Let's get the obvious reason why people are talking about Austin Reaves out the way first. He is on the Los Angeles Lakers, and everyone understands Los Angeles Lakers has arguably the biggest fan base in the NBA, and they also have LeBron James, their team, which brought a lot of fans like me over to the organization. So anyone that plays for the Lakers, we understand that they're going to get promoted up. I mean, he had a career high against Orlando and great game by him, but the NBA gave him an hour-long highlight, like on their official YouTube. They gave him an hour-long highlight video of his career. I mean, Austin Reaves is great, but at the end of the day, he's nothing more than a glorified role player. So it was, you know, they push his agenda, but I'm a Laker fan, so I'm all for it. But let's get into why Austin Reaves has been so talked about so much and why he's such a valuable piece to this Laker team. Last year, Austin Reaves was an undrafted rookie on the Los Angeles Lakers, and when he came in, no one really knew much about him. At least me, Laker fans, we had done a little bit of our research. He came from Oklahoma, and the kid, we knew he was a sharpshooter, and they gave him a nickname in training camp. They called him Hillbilly Kobe. I remember that was the first time I ever heard about him. It was Hillbilly Kobe, Austin Reaves. But as an undrafted rookie, no one really expected much from him, and we didn't really expect him to even honestly make the roster, but then he fought for a roster spot and made it in. Because of the lack of elite guard play and shooting, we got this undrafted rookie who was getting big minutes because honestly, he just played the game the right way. He made hustle plays and he made three-pointers, and we loved him immediately. This was a guy like, oh yeah, Lakers got another steal. Similar to Alex Caruso. Now, obviously, as you can tell, Alex Caruso and Austin Reaves have one thing in common. Well, they're white guys and they play for the Los Angeles Lakers, and they're obviously going to get their comparisons, which they did. Austin Reaves was getting a lot of comparisons to Alex Caruso early on. It was like, had the Lakers found a new Caruso? Is he better than Caruso? Blah, 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 this and that. And on his rookie year, no, I would say Alex Caruso was 100% the better player, and I wanted Alex Caruso more than I wanted Austin Reaves. But you could not deny it. Austin Reaves' offensive game was miles ahead of Caruso because of his sharpshooting ability, and he showed flashes that he might be able to take someone off the dribble, but that's mainly all Austin Reaves was his rookie year. Going into his second year, we knew Reaves was going to take a leap, and this by now he's already a fan favorite, but the way he's accelerated this year has been very, very impressive. Now, there's a lot of guards already on this Los Angeles Lakers team when the roster started out. You had Kendrick Nunn, Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reaves, Patrick Beverly. Like, there were a lot of guys that were at the guard position. There was and Lonnie Walker, sorry, I forgot about Lonnie. There was a lot of guys already loaded in this guard pool for the Lakers, and Reaves was really fighting for playing time early on, but he kept getting more and more time, and we saw his confidence go up because, one, we couldn't shoot the basketball. So a guy who shoots the ball was a breath of fresh air. Like, honestly, it was like, oh, he can actually knock down the shot. So we saw him get playing time mainly for his shot, but also he just was, like I said, making the right play. And him and Russell Westbrook would come off the bench, and it was a nice little 1-2 when they came in, a little bit of spark plug sometimes. Now, after the trade deadline, Reaves started getting a bigger role, especially after the Roy Hachimura trade when Kendrick Nunn would leave and then Patrick Beverly would leave, and now you had Dennis Schroeder and Austin Reaves really coming off the bench. And this is about time when I started talking to my friends that, hey, have y'all noticed that Austin Reaves seems like he's been spending a lot of time with one guy on the team? It seemed like he's starting to play a little bit like in making Reaves like a certain guy on our team. And I don't want to call this guy the name, but he has very similar playmaking, not skills, but Reaves as LeBron James. And it's obvious that those two were in the gym together. I mean, look at some of the reads that Austin makes now. I mean, the way he's able to read the defense, his patience, his confidence. Like, Austin, when like I said, when he first started, he was a great shooter, but now you look at him and he is just turning into one of the best playmakers, which will continue on as we go into the story. We see this bench lineup of Dennis Schroeder and Austin Reaves, and early on, you saw Reaves being the primary ball handler for the bench lineup, and Reaves was making all the reads. I mean, LeBron would come out and Reaves was making the pass, this pass, that pass, and honestly get everyone involved. He would get Roy involved a lot, and he was the guy we wanted with the ball outside of Dennis Schroeder, because Dennis Schroeder, let's be honest, a lot of times don't look for anyone else but himself. Austin Reaves was a very selfless basketball player. So one thing that I really started noticing about Austin Reaves was that his confidence just skyrocketed this year. Like halfway through the year, it just skyrocketed. Early on in the year, you would see him maybe do a pick and roll with AD, and you would always see him really look for AD, get the lob to AD, look to kick it out. And I love that about Reaves. I was like, oh, he gets Anthony Davis involved, which he does. He still does to this day. But now, you even look at him now, he's sometimes going off that screen like, no, I'm looking to score. Like, you're not going to guard me. I'm looking to score. I'm looking to get my own bucket. And a lot of plays are running around Austin Reaves. I mean, he got his first start the other night against the Phoenix Suns, and that's what he was doing, looking for his shot early on all game. And now he's a legit weapon on this Laker team. And it's just totally different. I mean, there were times when you look at pick and rolls to Austin Reaves and you knew he wasn't going to shoot. You just knew that was his last option, was to shoot a little floater, go for layup. Now, he goes off a pick and roll. You don't know what he's going to do. He's a deadly pick and roll player. And when he got this start today, he was the main ball handler. I mean, D'Angelo Russell has been great for this team, but today, D'Angelo Russell played a lot of off ball. Like a lot of Reaves' points used to become off ball, a little late swing, and he goes to the rim, he gets a layup, or late swing, kick out, he has a jumper. That's where he got most of his points in the first half of the season and last year. But now it's more so, he's the point guard, he's facilitating the offense, he's kicking out to D'Angelo Russell, he's getting AD the ball. Like, he is the main playmaker on this team. Now, all of a sudden, we have Dennis Schroeder and D'Angelo Russell deferring to him. They give him the ball to come up. This second-year undrafted player has all of a sudden became the Lakers' best playmaker. And quite honestly, he looks like the Lakers' best player outside of Anthony Davis. Now, with most Laker players and guys that are getting rise like this, there's always a little bit of controversy, and rightfully so. If you look at Austin Reaves' stat line, well, you can tell there's one thing that he gets very, very often, and that's free throws. Now, he did comment on this. He said, I watched a lot of Trae Young and James Harden and kind of learned how they would foul bait, and that's really what the term is. He is very good at knowing what type of fouls you can get as a ball handler, running into guys, making sure that, when I take this shot, I move my shoulder this way, or I do this, or go back with my head. Like, he's very, very good at foul baiting. Like, the whistle that he has as a Laker fan, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's honestly insane. Like, there are some fouls he gets. I'm like, how do you get that? Like, how did you get that foul? D'Angelo Russell, AD, LeBron, Moody Beats, like, no one else on our team is getting that call. Austin Reaves, I mean, he gets every call. But I'm not arguing about it. He's a Laker. If I read off his last 4 games, he shot 11 for 13, 6 for 9, 16 for 18, and the other night he shot 12 for 13. That's a lot of free throws that he is getting. So there's been a lot of uproar about Austin Reaves getting too many foul calls. They blow a whistle every time. Like, he's getting more foul calls than this star, that star. And I totally agree. I agree with you guys. Yes, Austin Reaves gets honestly an absurd amount of foul calls. But if you also look at his game, he doesn't just sit back and shoot a lot of threes. He's attacking the rim. Like, over, I would say about 70% of those plays are valid foul calls. He's always going to the rack. He's not settling. He's always going aggressively, and he knows how to play to the referees. And yes, it might help that he is a role player, and sometimes stars might not get the whistle. For instance, LeBron James, because they're kind of tired of seeing this guy just go in and dunk all the time. But a guy like Austin Reaves, attacking hard, he's going to get the call, and he understands that, and that's what he's been doing so well for the Los Angeles Lakers team. And I'm gonna be real, without Austin Reaves on this team, I don't think this team makes a play-in, especially with LeBron James out. Like, D'Angelo Russell is a great playmaker. Dennis Schroeder, I'm gonna be real, he's a very mediocre playmaker at best. Dennis Schroeder doesn't really look for anybody, but D'Angelo Russell can make, but he likes to score. Austin Reaves is turning into a pretty, I don't want to say elite, but a pretty good playmaker on this team. And he's the best playmaker we have currently. I mean, the kid makes every read. There's this play late in the game where he gets a kick out and he fakes it to D'Angelo Russell and hits Jared Vanderbilt for a nice little layup, like late in the game, like a really clutch bucket. And then to end the game off, his 11th assist, he goes off screen and roll, hits Jared Vanderbilt on a lob play. Like, just reads that most guys aren't making. I mean, you even see the play when Dennis Schroeder completely misses Anthony Davis. Austin Reaves is not making that miss. He's seeing that read. He's going to make that pass. So without Reaves, this team doesn't win against the Suns. They don't win against the Magic. They're not even in a lot of these games that they might even lose. He has been their best player outside of Anthony Davis. And you're going to say, well, D'Angelo Russell's been great. He has been great. D'Angelo Russell has done everything he needs to do. But when you have a guy who can not only give you 15 to 20 every night, but 8 to 10 assists and just make the right read, and it's low turnovers. Also, Reaves doesn't really turn the ball over much either, which is so great for this team. The playmaking, I really preach on it. It's not the scoring, it's the playmaking of Austin Reaves has got so much better. It is night and day with this guy. Like, forget the fouls, forget the points. Just watch the playmaking of this kid. It's honestly something special. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of LeBron. A lot of the reads he makes are similar to reads LeBron makes. And yes, they're not as flashy passes, but he makes the right read almost every time. I have so much trust in him. You see Darvin Ham, most of the season has used him in the final lineup because this guy, and he has the ball. He just makes the right play. And having guys like that is exceptional on the team. Now, this is my last thing I'm gonna say in this, and this is a direct call out to Jeannie Buss, to Rob Pelinka, to whoever is in charge out there. Give the kid his money. Give him his money. Whatever he requests, give it to him. Don't let him walk away like Caruso. I'm here 4 years, 60 months. Give the kid his money, bro. Just give him his money. It's hard to play for the Lakers. You get a lot of scrutiny. Patrick Beverley just talked about that. Fans love him. They were doing MVP chants 2 minutes into the game. He's your best point guard. He is your best point guard. I know he was a 2 guard when we originally started this team. He is our best point guard. He's the best point guard on the Los Angeles Lakers. Hands down, the best point guard on the Los Angeles Lakers. Give him his money. Pay the man. Because without him, the season would be over. Right now, without Austin Reaves, the season would be over. D'Angelo Russell and Dennis Schroeder are just not as good as playmakers as him. Pay the man his money. Please. Because if not, someone else is going to give it to him because he's showing out and I'm a fan.